Hello and welcome. It's 8 p.m. in Banjul and this is GRTS News broadcasting for viewers in the Gambia and around the world. In our headlines this hour, the First Lady Fatoumata Bah-Barrow presides over the maiden edition of Gambia-Nigeria Trade Exhibition. The West Africa Drug Policy Network, together with partners, discuss means of strategizing policy on the Gambia drug law reform in finding lasting solutions to the menace. Members of the Regional Technical Advisory Committee in Mansakonko honed their skills in measles and rubella vaccination campaign strategies, courtesy of the Regional Health Directorate team in Lower River Region. In sports, the Kanifing Municipal Council male football team becomes champions of the National Interdepartmental Sports Association Championship after beating the Gambia Police Force in the finals. Away from home, flooding in Nigeria killed more than 600 people, forcing 1.3 million others from their homes in a situation government says is the worst in a decade. Well, that's the top of the news and much more coming ahead with me, Mary Ann Ajayi, and many thanks for joining us. It's great to have you here, and we begin this special bulletin with the presidency because the First Lady Fatoumata Bah-Barrow on Sunday presided over the opening of maiden edition of Gambia-Nigeria Trade Exhibition. The event, organized by the Gambia Investment and Export Promotion Agency, GIPA, in collaboration with the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, NEPC, underway at the National Trade Fair grounds in Bruceby, coincides with the commemoration marking Breast Cancer Awareness Month 2022. Let's take a look.
Supported by the Gambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Nollywood stars and musicians from both countries will be performing at the venue throughout the trade fair. Reporting for GRTS News, I am Dado Cham. The exhibition Gambia-Nigeria Trade Expo is underway in Bruceby. The week-long trade fair is meant to showcase goods and services from the countries to promote trade and integration between Banjul and Abuja. Speaking at the opening ceremony of the trade fair, the First Lady, Madam Fatoumata Bah-Barrow, hailed the cordial relationship between the Gambia and Nigeria, saying such exhibitions are crucial in strengthening cooperation and development of the two countries. The First Lady added that Gambia has always seen Nigeria as a sister country, and this collaboration is a demonstration.
Bring in a Chamber of Commerce, Nigerian Chamber of Commerce, if we want this relationship to continue. That's the way forward. Because in the Gambia, we have accepted you already. There is a town called Ibo Town in the Gambia. There is a market owned by Igbos. There is a market owned by Yorubas that has shown that we are already family. We are one people. Now, what we want you to do is just come up to bring in our Chamber of Commerce, Nigeria Chamber of Commerce, and that would be the first one in the country because we don't have any other Chamber of Commerce apart from the Gambia Chamber of Commerce, the Women Chamber of Commerce, and the Youth Chamber of Commerce. Take this opportunity and take care of this immediately.
The Chief Executive Officer of GIPA, Usainu Senghor, said that this initiative will enable the business, community, and services providers from the two countries to display their goods and services. This, he said, will promote trade and investment.
Nigeria, we had a good bilateral relationship at country-to-country level. But within the ECOWAS, we have what is known as the Trade Promotion Organization. And that is all the export promotion agencies in ECOWAS. And our association, we have Nigeria as the president. We have Ivory Coast as the vice president. And the Gambia holds the position for Commissioner for Finance and Resource Mobilization. So that has enabled me to work with my colleague.
The Chief Executive Director of the Nigerian Export Promotion Council said the rationale behind this initiative is to promote networking within the African continent due to the belief they have in African trade.
We believe in African trade. We are talking about African unity at the political level. I will also believe in African trade. There's need for us to trade between each other, and we have to start. Charity, they say, begins at home. So we're starting with the West African sub-region, and that's why we initiated this idea of a solo exhibition, which was later transmuted to a kind of a joint fair between us and Gambia. And the essence is to introduce our products to Gambia, while Gambia also introduced its product to Nigeria. And we also wanted an avenue for synergy and interface between our various traders, or exporters and importers, as the case may be.
The first edition of the West African Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise exhibition includes 70 exhibitors, 30 representing Nigeria, 30 identified by the Gambian Investment and Export Promotion Agency and its Business Services Organization Associates, and 10 others supported by the Gambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Nollywood stars and musicians from both countries will be performing at the venue throughout the trade fair. Reporting for GRTS News, I am Dado Cham.
Well, as the world marks a month-long campaign on cancer to raise awareness on the disease, amid uncertainty that bra wearing causes breast cancer, GRTS's Mama J takes a look at what health experts say about the claim.
That the silicone gel found in some bras causes allergic reaction that might lead to cancer, GRTS find out more about the claim. Brassiere or bra is a fitting undergarment used by women to support their breasts and give it a good shape. The cosmetic device used to hide nipples that poke through clothing is also used by breastfeeding mothers to avoid leaking of the breast milk. However, many believe that bras contain materials that might cause allergic reaction. But can bra wearing really cause breast cancer?
There isn't any evidence to show that bra wearing can actually cause cancer. What bra wearing can do is breast pain, mastalgia, that is, they can cause discomfort and they can cause pain if they're not comfortable. That causes patients to come to us in the hospital for complaints. But there is no connection between bra wearing and breast cancer. The risk factors for breast cancer are well known.
Abdullah Sise, a vendor at the Serekunda market, have been selling bras since 1987. Although there is no fixed price for a bale of bra which has little or no profit, Abdullah managed to feed his family from the sales gain and pay his children's school fees.
I have seen bras that contain silicone gel, mostly from China. They sell out very fast and at reasonable prices. Although some of the bra products we have in the country comes from Europe, China and Asia. I get my orders from Europe because of their quality.
Umuso, a customer I met at the Serekunda market, said she wears bras just to give her breast a good looking shape. However, bra wearing is not a necessity for women like Mariama Conte who prefer wearing body fit.
I body fit like this. I don't normally wear a bra because I find it difficult to wear whenever I wear it. So I prefer wearing body fit.
Mariatu Conte is comfortable wearing bra but cautioned that wearing the device the whole day might have some health implications.
For me, why I wear bra, I don't have big breast, so I really like breast, so I always find the bra that's having sponge, so I can use it, at least it can make my breast to become bigger, so now as a lady, so.
Although women with large breasts usually wear bras for support, our Marina Conte says she's not comfortable wearing the device even though she has a large breast.
Even though it gives my breast a nice shape, I sometimes feel uncomfortable in it, especially when the weather is too hot.
According to this customer, the cosmetic device is part of a woman's dressing.
If your breast is small, you may not wear. But if you have breast, you need to wear. If you don't wear bra, the thing will fall down. It will just fall. The cloth, the wife just dressed now without bra. This thing will not fit me nice.
While bras serve as a support to the breast, they do not prevent the breast from sacking because naturally the breast will sack as the woman gets old. Health experts say about 1 million women are diagnosed with breast cancer every year, with thousands others at risk of the disease. It is therefore recommended that women of 30 years and above do regular screening of clinical breast cancer. Mama J, GRTS.
And now, in an effort to strategize policy on the Gambia drug law reforms, the West Africa Drug Policy Network, in collaboration with Students for Sensible Drug Policy, the Gambia, organized a two-day synergy with civil society organizations to support the Gambia drug law reforms. The forum aimed at bringing civil society organizations to discuss and chart a way forward to bring lasting solutions to the drug menace, particularly cannabis sativa, also known as marijuana, the most commonly drug used by young people. Baba Silla has all the details of that report.
As marijuana, which is one of the most commonly used drugs among young people. However, nearly 30 countries around the world have decriminalized cannabis sativa for medicinal purposes, but in the Gambia, officials are putting up strategies to reform drug laws that impose prison sentences on users. This two-day synergy, organized by Students for Sensible Drug Policy in collaboration with West Africa Drug Policy Network, is working closely with civil society organizations to chart a way forward in the fight against drugs. The founder of Students for Sensible Drug Policy, Karamo Conte, revealed the fundamental objective of the foundation.
Students for Sensible Drug Policy was established in 1998 by few students who had been chatting online. They were members of their generation who stood and understand the failure of the war on drugs, and they got together to raise their voices against the failed war on drugs. Since then, Students for Sensible Drug Policy has become an international grassroots network for students and young people, led by students and young people who are advocating for policy reform at local, national, continental, and global levels.
Partnering with the West Africa Drug Policy Network with support from Africa's Open Society Forum, the foundation has been working with partners to find solutions to the current trend of drug use among young people. Expanding on the way forward to address the situation, the interim executive director of West Africa Drug Policy Network, Prince Buldosani, called for participation of civil society organizations in the crusade to find a lasting solution to the drug menace affecting young people across the region.
Objective of the meeting has been stated, but I would like to reinstate that it's to actually open or reopen the discussion around drug and drug policies in the Gambia, or the impact of illicit drug trade on our society, and to also examine what response, how government is responding to that impact. That is essentially the objective of this meeting this morning. It has been said that West Africa Drug Policy Network and SSDP, what we do is to promote progressive drug control response in West Africa. That means we look at drug control response that are based on human rights and public health.
At the end of the forum, officials will submit their findings and recommendations to relevant state authorities for action. Baba Silla, GRTS.
As part of activities marking this year's celebrations of International Day of Rural Women, Reliance Financial Services on Saturday inaugurated the first ever purpose-built bank branch in the Central River region at Brikama. Omar P. Jallo has the rest of that story.
The inauguration of this new Reliance Financial Service branch is the first of its kind in the Central River region. It is part of the financial institution drive towards the development and promotion of small-scale and medium-sized enterprises in the Gambia. Babukar Khan, the managing director of Reliance Financial Services, said the bank envisioned to build more branches and also provide quality banking services to local communities in the Gambia. He added that his institution is the first and only financial service institution that have opened a branch in the Central River region. He revealed that the institution has the lowest rate of opening savings account, which is aimed at making banking services accessible and affordable to all Gambians.
We believe that development has to be a collaborative effort. We have to soldier on the challenges and be smart in finding solutions so that we can overcome them and begin to address the issues that are pertinent for the growth and development of the people of the Gambia. In particular, the women, for whom we at Reliance have developed a comprehensive program of financial services that includes advancing them with loans, not for consumption, but for entrepreneurship and business financing.
As the first such in the Central River region, it was taken with pride, something that was amply manifested in the governor's statement, who applauded Reliant Financial Services for the undertaking. He was quick to say that the building would enable the people of Brikama and its environment to save money with Reliant Financial Services.
The Gambia government needs partners to help in this fight because the government can't do it alone. And today we are gathered here to witness Reliance Financial Services taking steps in the right direction by complementing government's effort. When you help women, you are helping not just a family or a community, but the whole world.
Sarata Konate, the CEO of GCCI, said Brikama is an economically active and strategic location within the Central River region, adding that at the heart of the economic development agenda are the small and medium-sized enterprises.
At the GCCI, I wish to confirm with great pleasure that our doors will always be open to women, to support you in whatever we can to grow your businesses and to help you become effective economic leaders in our society. This is very important to us. I continue to be passionate about this while I remain committed also to that service.
Ami Bensouda, the board chairperson of Reliant Financial Services, said it is part of Reliant's expansion strategy and objectives to take banking to the doorsteps of every Gambian community to reduce the ever-present rural-urban migration.
Kel menu bi jangdum alfa menu bi jang kel be ngalon ne musol rane ka fo kabrin somanda bari musol fana ya lon ko be ko kuto ni kel me bulo dunje ate abuka barkano.
Joanna Jaju, the branch manager, expressed optimism that they will do their level best to supply their customers with quality banking services. He urged the people of Brikama and its surrounding villages to make good use of the facility. Other speakers included Fatu Kinte, the Minister of Gender, Children and Social Welfare, Benedict Y. Gomez, the head of Credit and Risk, the contractor Babukar Jan of Fenta Architects, and Bai Senghor, the representative of the governor of the central bank. Basic economic theory tells us that saving will lead to investment, which in turn will lead to job and wealth creation. This cycle will contribute greatly to national development. Reporting for GRTS News, I am Omar P. Jallo.
Now, efforts to equip deaf and hard of hearing women and men in comprehensive education, GADHO, women and girls are benefiting from a training on sexual and reproductive health through an implementing research project by the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education and funded by the International Development Research Center. Well, here's GRTS's Aminata Isanyang.
To give deaf women and girls exposure to reproductive health education. A training on comprehensive sexual education is on the way for GADHO women and girls, rolled out through an implementation research project by the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, with funding from International Development Research Center.
GADHO, you are part of society, and you are very important as well. Most of the time, when such things happen, you people are mostly vulnerable and you're always marginalized. You reproduce as well, so you have to understand about reproductive health. That's why it's important for us to disseminate to you people based on our research findings.
Communication has always been a barrier for deaf women, and this has hindered efforts geared towards addressing matters of reproductive health. This is an opportunity for deaf women and girls to acquire new knowledge on reproductive health.
We recently partnered with the Network Against Gender-Based Violence, where we learn a lot with regards to sexual and gender-based violence. So we also very happy today to link with Phoebian to learn about her research and also to learn about the comprehensive health education. So I urge all of you, members of the Gambia Association for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing, to participate and also to ask much questions as you can. Don't be shy to ask questions. You are free to ask any question so that you can learn, and at the end of the day, you will be able to help others who are not here. You will be able to know how to protect yourself.
Adama Jame is one of the beneficiaries of the training, and she hopes to utilize on the training to raise awareness on sexual and reproductive health among other deaf women. Aminata E. Sanyang, GRTS.
And now to the Lower River region, where the Regional Health Directorate in Mansa Konko recently sensitized members of the Regional Technical Advisory Committee on the forthcoming measles and rubella vaccination campaign. The forum held at the Governor's office in Mansa Konko was meant to enable TAC members to disseminate information concerning the vaccination campaign at their workplaces and communities to ensure a successful vaccination campaign. Well, here is an excerpt.
We would also be moving from community to community, but then it's different from going from compound to compound. We will not be going to compounds. We will only be stationed at one place. As our ambassadors and as we are there together, we call you here so that you go back to various institutions, your friends, your families, and inform them about the upcoming campaign so that we are all in it together. As a Ministry of Health.
And now, King Tubs, a non-charitable organization, recently presented medical items to Sarah Musa Health Post in Jara West District. At a presentation ceremony held at the Community Health Post, the event attracted dozens of villagers. Well, here's an excerpt.
It's just within the combos. We distribute so many items within so many hospitals in combos and so many schools and other villages within the combos. But then we realized that we extend the gesture to the provinces because there could be the people who need it more. This is why we decided this time to bring these medical items here. Our secretary, the Secretary General of the organization is a nurse. He is the one who pack all these things. Because the donors, when they donate it from UK, the CEO will receive it and then address it to us. When we receive it from the container, then if there are medical items, we will invite the Secretary General. He is the nurse. He is Lamarana Jallo. He is the one who will differentiate what is what, and then whether they are usable or not.
Well, time now to take our first break, and when we return, sports news is up next. Please stay with us.
Fojeka, ce 22 octobre, Inch'Allah, Wally Ballago Seck ak Waram Dan gars yi gala bi nga xamante ni chaque année mu yëngal àdduna, des personnalités, des hommes d'État, des hommes de culture. Wally Ballago Seck vous donne rendez-vous ce 22 octobre, Inch'Allah, ca Fojeka Bala ak Waram Dan. ñëw leen Mr Amadou Diagne anniversaire bi foofu lañ ko yóbbu Fojeka Inshallah.
Bank from here and there, wherever you look, wherever you go, and here too, here and even here. Introducing the Bloom Digital Suite from Bloom Bank Africa. Web and mobile banking that allows you to bank on the go at your convenience and on your own terms. Check and transfer funds, pay NAWIC bills, buy cash power, buy mobile credit, and so much more. For more information, visit www.bloombankafrica.com or pass by any of our branches nationwide. Download from the Apple Store and the Google Play Store. Bloom Digital Web and Mobile Banking on the go from Bloom Bank Africa. Wherever you are, you've got a bank.
Assalamu alaikum.
Welcome back. Now, the Kanifing Municipal Council male football team has once again shown quality and resistance as they defeated the Gambia Police Force in the finals to defend the National Interdepartmental Sports Association Championship for the second time in a row. The two sides played a 1-1 draw in regulation time before Kanifing Municipal Council advancing to win 5-4 advance shootout. Now, Famara Baji, our sports correspondent, has the rest of that story.
Yes, the motivation is all came from the mayor. Since at the inception he came in, he said he wants sport to go from higher heights. So Alhamdulillah, he will support us. Whatever we request, we get it at the right time. So that's why we have to make it from back to back. And inshallah, we are trying to go for third division, if possible. If not, we still go back to Nisa next year, inshallah.
We are here with the civilians, and we cannot go without them, they cannot go without us. So we have to build that partnership between us. And we belong to the community belongs to us. So we have to make sure we are always with them, and that's why we participated.
Reaching the final means qualifying for another competition.
Both the runners-up and the winner are going to Senegal to take part for the Gambia. If you go to Senegal, there you are not going to represent your institution, but you are going to represent Gambia as a whole. So we signed a memorandum of understanding with our counterparts, with our neighbors, Senegal.
As runners-up, the police were handed a consolation prize that includes $10,000, while for the champions KMC, their decoration includes $12,000. Famara Baji, GRTS News.
You're watching GRTS News, and we'll take another break and we'll look at news from beyond our borders when we return. Do stay with us.
Service in the Gambia brought to you by the coolest network, AfriCell. Text all day, every day with your friends and loved ones to AfriCell network for only 40 buttons per SMS. The texting never stops. AfriCell always hook you up.
Double the data, double the fun. Only on AfriMoney.
Buzz Bundle. To enjoy the Buzz Bundle on AfriMoney, dial *777# and double your data for as low as $10 and get 80 megabytes. And also receive 3 GB of data for only $150. There's more. Just dial *777# to find out.
All bundles are valid for 7 days. To cash in, visit our nearest AfriMoney agent.
AfriMoney. Send money anywhere, anytime. Do you enjoy talking on the phone? Well, if so, enjoy 1,000 minutes of talk time from your AfriCell line to your loved one or your favorite person for $150. Dial *135# to get your very own 1,000 minutes of talk time. Let's talk.
The cheapest.
Welcome back. Now we go to Nigeria, where more than 600 people have died, with more than 1.3 million forced from their homes in the worst floods hit by Nigeria in a decade, according to the latest government figures. Now, the country has been inundated by heavy rains in August, and there are fears that the impact on the country's farmers could leave millions facing hunger. Here's more in this report.
Disrupting deliveries of food and fuel. In north-central Nigeria's Kogi state, Khalid Othman's fuel tanks have been underwater for the past 10 days.
When this water was coming, we never emphasized that to come and cover the tank. So the very day we tried to evacuate the product, we couldn't.
While Nigeria is used to seasonal flooding, officials say this year has been the worst seen in a decade. So far, more than 200,000 homes have been destroyed and nearly 110,000 hectares of farmland.
We planted cassava, we planted yam, but all of these efforts, when the waters poured over, ravaged and destroyed it.
Concerns are also mounting about the increased spread of disease. Both the Nigerian government and the UN say climate change has made the country's rainy season worse.
We're currently seeing the worst floods in 10 years in Nigeria. So climate change is real, as we are yet again discovering in Nigeria.
Rains are expected to continue until the end of November, when the season ends, potentially causing yet more flooding.
And now, Russia's Ministry of Defense says gunmen have killed 11 people at a military training site The attack happened in the Belgorod region of Russia, which borders on Ukraine. The two shooters opened fire during a training session for volunteers preparing to be deployed to Ukraine. Despite the ongoing war, some Ukrainians are returning to their homes in the east of the country as Ukrainian forces make gains on the battlefield. Well, details of that in this France 24 report.
EU ministers meeting today agreed to sign off on a further tranche of EU military aid for Ukraine. That brings the total up to 3.1 billion euros. National governments can send over their military aid and then be reimbursed from this EU budget. Now, they also agreed today to set up an EU-Ukraine military training mission that will operate out of Poland and out of Germany. Some countries will not participate in this, but they didn't try to veto it. So Austria, which is neutral, did not want to participate, and also Hungary, which has had a habit of trying to walk back EU action to help Ukraine in this war, also will sit out of that mission, but they did not try to block it today. Now, the other big discussion that EU foreign ministers were having was a talk about the future of EU-China relations. That's going to be on the agenda of a summit of EU prime ministers and presidents in Brussels on Thursday and Friday of that week. They are trying to set out an orientation for how the EU should view China. Now, there are many voices in that room pushing for the EU to take a hardline stance on China, insisting that Beijing take a stance on the Russian war and condemn Russia's invasion and annexation of Ukrainian territory. So that's going to be an interesting discussion on Thursday and Friday. I didn't get the sense that that issue was moved ahead forward in a great degree today. So it's really been left to the prime ministers and presidents to figure out what that future relationship with China is going to be. EU ministers meeting today.
Well, over now to the weather report, courtesy of the Central Focus Office. You're watching us live from Banjul, and I am Mary Anjai Ajayi. Now, a quick look at our top stories before we go. The First Lady, Fatimata Barrow, has presided over the maiden edition of the Gambia-Nigeria Trade Exhibition. The West Africa Drug Policy Network, together with partners, have been discussing means of strategizing policy on the Gambia drug law reform in finding lasting solutions to the menace. Members of the Regional Technical Advisory Committee in Mansakonko are honing their skills in measles and rubella vaccination campaign strategies, courtesy of the Regional Health Directorate team in Lower River Region. In sports, the Kanifing Municipal Council male football team are the champions of the National Interdepartmental Sports Association after beating the Gambia Police Force in the finals. Away from home, the flooding in Nigeria has killed more than 600 people, forcing 1.3 million others from their homes in a situation government says is the worst in a decade. Well, thank you for the pleasure of your company, and do stay tuned and enjoy the rest of our programs here on GRTS TV, and I'll be back in the studio at 10 p.m. for another edition of the news. Many thanks for listening, for watching.